change the chair here?
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the full commission day of the Tennessee Fish and Wildlife Commission. We're glad you all joined us. I'm going to ask Commissioner Stroud to lead us in the invocation and then the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, we love you. We thank you for what you give us. We thank you for all those blessings that we are so happy to have. Father, let us just have a great meeting today. Give us knowledge and make sure that we do the right thing. Father, let us just lead in a way that will make you proud. And we ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, we'd like to welcome everyone. We do have a few special guests today, or some guests in the room with us today. We've got Mr. Ron Crabtree, Quail Forever, Miss Luann Partington, and Kathy Dolan from the Wildlife Rehabilitating, Karen Carter, who is Director Carter's wife. I won't tell you the comment I made to her out front, but I told her how blessed she was. That's what it was. Anyway, Tammy Woods is here. She's wife of Commissioner Tommy Woods. Trey Tigg, former commissioner, sitting right there. Ron Robertson, Tim Bishop, Miss Ricky Exery, and Don Robertson from the Tennessee Valley Farmers down in Hardin County. And Scott Reese from the UT Extension Service. And I told this guy, I said, we've had some special folks and some really important folks, but to have Dirk King, the husband of Connie King, in the room with us, we are really feeling special today. I understand. Happy birthday, Connie. And we have with us again today, somewhere in here, is Dave Kosterski from DU Canada. Right there he is. So, and Dave, I wanted to watch you during the pledge, but I had to look at the flag. I didn't know what Canadians did when we did the pledge, so really was intrigued what you were doing, but I couldn't turn around. It is good to have you back with us, and good to have you down in the state of Tennessee. And also, I didn't say yesterday, but it's a real honor to see our money, or it's not ours, the hunters and the fishermen of Tennessee used in a way. I can't think of another way we could use it as far as waterfowl to improve our hunting, and to think that it's that far away from home, but until you make the trip up there and see it for yourself, you just don't really realize it. And I hope this commission stays with that task for years to come in their support for DU Canada. So. All right, Danette, would you call the roll?
Dennis Gardner.
Here.
Jimmy Granberry.
Here.
Steve Jones.
Here.
Connie King.
Here.
Jim Ripley.
Here.
Tony Sanders.
Here.
James Stroud.
Here.
Kent Woods.
Here.
Tommy Woods.
Here.
Hank Wright.
Here.
Angie Box.
Here.
Brian McLaren.
Here.
Kurt Holbert.
Here.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
Okay. Commissioner McLaren.
I'd like to thank Commissioner Cranberry and for the hosting the event we had last night, and to get to spend time and fellowship with the foundation and other industry partners. It was a great time, great meal, and always wonderful to spend time with people that's focusing on the same issues as we are. Thank you.
Either on your iPad or in your folder, you got a copy of last January, of January's minutes. Do I hear a motion for approval?
Motion approved.
Do I hear a second? Motion from Gardner and a second from McLaren. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Director Carter, you got any announcements?
Not right now.
should have let you introduce your wife, and then you could have done a better job, I'm sure. So. That's true. All right, I'm going to call on Wally Cook, wherever he's at. He's going to come up and we're going to do a presentation.
Good morning, Commissioners. How are y'all? This morning we would like to honor Miss Lou Ann Partington for her outstanding work as far as a rehabilitator. We'd also like to take this opportunity to express how much we appreciate all of our permitted wildlife rehabilitators. They literally take thousands upon thousands of calls across the state addressing the public when it comes to animals that are in need. And they do such a great service to this agency and to the people of this state. It would be an astronomical budget for the state to do what these people do literally for free. So myself, as well as the agency, cannot thank these people well enough. And she exemplifies the work they do and how valuable they are. The one thing that came to mind that prompted me to do this was the opening day of muzzleloader season. Lieutenant Selvach received a complaint an eagle had been injured, and he was in the midst of opening day of muzzleloader season. Miss Partington went up to Grundy County, picked the eagle up, took it all the way to the UT vet school, stayed with it that day, and did not get back to her home in Franklin County till nearly 9 o'clock that night. So it's things like this, and she's done this numerous times. It really is important to us because our officers, you know, at times they are going in 15 different directions, and having somebody to call upon to help means the world to those officers. So Miss Lou Ann Partington is a state and federally permitted wildlife rehabilitator. She graduated from Kent State University. Lou Ann got involved in wildlife rehabilitation after a job transfer landed her in Northern California. She started volunteering at what is now Wild Care in San Rafael. Did I pronounce it? San Rafael. That's California, so I can't be held accountable. In 1989, while at Wild Care, she developed a volunteer training class and held a variety of volunteer positions, including shift supervisor, foster care program coordinator, wildlife technician, and board member, and paid position as interim animal care director and interim executive director for this facility. After moving to Tennessee, Lou Ann joined forces with Ziggy's Trees Wildlife as their songbird specialist and a member of the board of directors for this institution. Lou Ann cares for an average of 400 birds annually and provides care for over 5,800 wild patients since she received her permit in 2004. Lou Ann has presented on songbird topics at national conferences as well as conferences in states like Ohio and Tennessee, and is a member of the International Wildlife Rehabilitation Council and a member of the National Wildlife Rehabilitators Association. So therefore, I would like Chairman Holbert to present Ms. Lou Ann with an award of appreciation.
I'm gonna go ahead and call on Mark Ridings to come up. And by the way, Wally asked me to read that, and it gives me this piece of paper. A whole sheet of paper with about a fourth of it with writing on it. So anyway.
Excuse me. Good morning, Chairman Holbert, Commissioners. I'm here today to present the 2019 TWRA Information Technology Professional of the Year Award. Each quarter, we select an award winner selected from the candidates who have been nominated by the IT management team for distinguishing themselves both personally and professionally in the execution of their duties the previous quarter. This year's recipient is no exception. This year's winner has distinguished themselves by providing exceptional service as a software developer lead for the IT division here at TWRA. Our recipient joined TWRA in October of 2018. Coming to us from the private sector, they brought with them a wealth of knowledge and a welcome breath of fresh air to invigorate our software development team. Within his first year, they had either personally completed or overseen the completion of a number of software development projects. These include the Deer Registry migration, phase 1 of our financials program, and a new update to the Wild Hogs program. In their role as lead, they spend much of their time helping and mentoring their team members and have created several training schedules for them. They're always willing to help any of their team and who come across a problem and tirelessly researches for the answers. This individual truly leads by example, and their professionalism and positive attitude carry on to their team. Moreover, they accomplished all these aforementioned responsibilities with a true sense of professionalism and attention to quality, while providing the highest level of genuinely courteous and heartfelt customer service. Their distinctive accomplishments reflect great credit upon themselves, the IT division, our agency, and the state of Tennessee. It is both my honor and my privilege to present the 2019 TWRA IT Professional of the Year Award to Teperet Wiped Pratis, or as we call him, Teddy Wee.
All right, again, I mentioned earlier there was a group here from the Tennessee Valley Farmers, and I'm going to let them speak for a minute. I know we've been doing, or we along with the others have done a lot of work around White Oak WMA, and I think Mr. Ron Robertson and Don Robertson are both going to say a few words, so y'all just hop up to that mic there.
Thank you. We're actually here to thank the commissioners for what you did in White Oak. We're about halfway through the rerouting and reconstruction of the White Oak Canal that went through there. I think we had a tour of it last summer, and we were very impressed with what has been done. West Tennessee River Basin Authority did the engineering, and from what I saw, I think that ultimately you're going to have a great wetland there. There's going to be, the water's going to be where it should be. I think the total project, when done, will alleviate all of our problems of having water backed up on our farmland. I think I just want to thank you for being such a good neighbor, because I own farmland around this WMA, as many of us do, and we have we want this to be a successful effort, and I think it will be. And I know Kurt went through a lot of effort to get this done, and we want to thank you, Kurt, for that. I think ultimately over the next few years, this work that's being done will turn that whole area into a totally different WMA. There's going to be a lot of water for ducks. There's going to be a lot of trees to start to regrow, and we're in Hardin County. We're excited about what you've done, and we want to thank you for that. And I'm going to turn it over to Don now.
On behalf of the Tennessee Valley farmers, all the farmers and landowners in the White Oak Bottom and the 4 counties that the tributaries go through White Oak Bottom, we want to thank you, Kirk. We talked about this small token of our appreciation, but we really do appreciate you and your leadership and all that y'all have done on the board. But today we're giving the award to Kirk.
Thank you guys very much. A lot of people, you always get asked at the end of your commission term. I hadn't been asked this yet, but what's your single biggest accomplishment? But the truth of the matter is, not one person on this commission gets anything accomplished. It takes a teamwork of at least 7 of them to agree with you. Most of the time, we are pretty unanimous in our decisions. But many of these commissioners were on here when we funded this project, and many of you weren't. But the ones that were, it was a big dollar amount, but it was much needed, and I appreciate your support and the agency's support in itself. All right, I'm going to call on Joe Benedict, our Wildlife and Forestry Chief. Joe, if anybody's got any questions, Joe presented this yesterday. Has anybody got any questions about dates or anything that was presented? All right.
Yesterday you mentioned on the SCOP change, the 15 days. Did you say, if I heard you right, you said we could put the 15 days wherever we wanted?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out the Fed's logic in that. It seemed like if they were divvying it up, they would want a designated time that you only harvested one. It seemed weird, but the whole thing kind of seems weird to me, so
Yeah,
I was just curious. Thank you.
yeah, we can put them wherever we would need to.
Okay.
Commissioner Granberry?
Hey, Joe, thank you. Probably more emails received related to the Crow schedule and the times and stuff, so thank you guys for listening. I'm sure it's made a lot of people happy.
We're always happy to hear from stakeholders, especially when they're passionate about something, and it was an easy change to make.
Great. Anyone else? Do I hear a motion for approval?
So moved.
All right, I've got a motion for an approval of Proclamation 2001, the migratory game bird hunting seasons. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Joe. Commissioner Wood, you guys.
Thank you, Joe. Maybe this would be the right time to bring this up. I know I have, and I know several others are getting a little pressure put on us to try to get a nighttime coyote hunting season, and if there's any way you and the agency or whoever else need to help get on board to see if you can bring us something maybe in April that we could look at and see if we can't get the ball rolling on this.
We'll be happy to put it on our list and discuss.
All right.
Sure.
Thank you, Joe. Anybody else got anything for?
I know one of the issues in that, of course, is always safety. And it occurred to me that, you know, we've had our wild hog night hunting regulation in place for some time now. Have we had any kind of accidents or problems with that?
No, sir.
Okay.
We'll let
Refresh
Colonel
my
Ryder or Lieutenant Colonel Taylor, whichever one of you wants to come up. I know both of you are just eager to get up here.
No, sir, nothing on the hog side of business, but we've had one incident a couple years ago in nighttime hunting in Robertson County where a gentleman from a northern state came and thought we were allowed to hunt predators at night, and he ended up shooting a horse, a man's horse, and went to court, and judge told him never come back to Tennessee and all the above. So nothing on the hog side, though.
I'd be in favor of keeping the horse season closed. So. But
Nothing on the hog side.
and remind me, if you would, what do we do as far as our hog eradication hunting at night? Are they required to use equipment like infrared or night vision type stuff?
They're underneath that permit, and they have the ability, just short of poison and explosive, to work on their hogs. But they have to be underneath the exemption program, and that's signed up through the regional system.
Okay, so some of them are using, I guess, spotlights, some are using the night equipment, whatever they want to use, essentially.
Short of poison and explosive, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Joe. And Darren. All right, I'm going to call Miss Pandy Upchurch. Yesterday, Pandy presented a budget expansion, the amount of $223,485.74. So, has anybody got any questions? Motion? Do I hear a second? All right, I've got a motion and a second. We adopt the budget expansion in the amount of $223,485.74. Let me know by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thanks, Pandy. I think Dwight's in here somewhere. You don't even have to come up, Dwight, if you want to. But unless somebody's got a question, then you get to. So anyway, but yesterday, Director Carter actually presented a budget expansion on the amount of $200,000. He's tired of losing weight for a new elevator in the central office. I have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, the Budget Committee met and make this as a motion that we approve the budget expansion.
Okay. I have a second from McLaren. Any questions? Commissioner Granberry?
Dwight, who's the vendor and what's the time frame? There's only one vendor in Nashville, so I'm assuming it's National Machine, but, so you had to go out of state to get somebody to do it, huh?
Kone, K-O-N-E, is the vendor. They have a statewide contract for all the maintenance of all the elevators in the state. So the cost is from them. Timeline is that they're in design and engineering right now. The material should be on site in about 6 weeks. Takes them about 6 weeks to install it, so sometimes in June we should have a new elevator installed.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor of the budget expansion for $200,000 for new elevator, let me know by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion
I have a
carried.
question on that. Do we sign up? Is there a place we can sign up to, where we can take the first ride? We'll do a raffle.
All right, I'm gonna call on Lieutenant Colonel Cape Taylor. yesterday, Kate presented Proclamation 2002, Manner, Means, and Hunting, do with our new tagging process and check-in process. Has anybody got any questions? Do I have a motion for approval?
Yesterday, the voting and law enforcement committee met, and we moved to adopt this.
Okay, do I hear a second? Second from Commissioner King. Any questions? I do want to say it again I think it's important that hunters understand that if you're using a smartphone or a phone of any kind, nothing's going to change for you. It's just, you've got to do it immediately when the animal is taken. And I think that's important for folks to realize is that we're not doing away from that. We're not requiring you to put a physical tag on it if you've got a smartphone, unless you choose to do so. So all in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thanks, Kate. All right, we're going to take about a 5-minute quick recess, and then we'll come back in. Is it hot in here? Still missing Commissioner Gardner and Commissioner Ripley, if somebody could grab them.
Call to the principal's office. We held in contempt of Kurt.
All right, we're nearing the end of business. I did have a request for Jennifer to come up. Commissioner Granberry wanted her to come up and explain the cards here.
Yeah, so Commissioner Granberry had a wonderful idea to have a little fact card that would be almost like an elevator speech about the agency on a business-sized card. So I was able to get a draft of some of them hard copy printout, but you'll see in your email boxes a PDF of this card. And what I would like is just feedback and hearing what you guys would like on this card. So it's a good resource for you guys to be able to use when you're talking about the agency. It has things like number of license holders, economic impacts of hunting, fishing, and boating, and just those types of things. So I would love feedback on it. So in the next month or two, we can get some physical copies printed up and distributed to everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner McLaren?
It may be you just drew the short straw. It happened to be up right now, but this may be a boating and your department area. I've been approached by some bass fishermen about kayakers being on the water without lighting during at night or low light conditions. And I know we've got the laws in place to take care of that, but I was wondering what would be the best avenue we have to inform those people, to the person who walks into a retail store, buys a kayak and heads to the water. You know, most of them know they have to have a life jacket, but how can we inform those end users of the rules about, you know, so they don't get hurt? It's not so much about following the rules to me as it is saving a life. So
That's something I could certainly work with Betsy Woods on to try to do a better job of informing those folks that they do need safety lights.
I mean, could it be, you know, something like this attached
sure.
to the kayak?
Work with the manufacturers to get that attached. Sure.
Or, I mean, I don't know, that's above my pay grade, but.
Mine too.
I feel there's a need. I feel there's a need there. I just don't know how to address it.
Yeah, I agree. We'll brainstorm and see what
Okay.
we can come up
Thank
with.
you.
Thank you, Commissioner McLaren. Anything else?
Anybody else? Thank you, Jennifer. Anybody from the public got any other comments today? All right, Director Carter, you got, all right, come on up.
I gave my elevator speech yesterday, if you remember, so. And Commissioner Stroud, I think you'd make a great test pilot because you're so good at pushing people's buttons. And I think,
You know, I used to have, when I was a kid, I had a mule. And I used to beat that mule and kick that mule. And my mother said, son, one day that mule is going to come back and haunt you. And sure enough, that ass is here today. Your turn.
I don't think I can top that. Thank you. Oh, I want to say a couple of things here. Like 48 years ago, actually, I started working for the Game and Fish Commission. And at that time, I was so proud to wear the patch of the Game and Fish Commission, I would literally get out of my car at times so where there was a crowd of people so they'd know where I worked. And I mean, that's honest, true story. I was so proud of that. And then that continued on when we became the Wildlife Resources Agency, and it's still every bit as true today. So on March the 1st, like in about a week, I'll start my 12th year as director of the agency, which is amazing to me that ever got that opportunity, and it's gone by so quickly. And then April the 1st, we'll start my 49th year with the agency. So in all that time, I remember I couldn't wait to get 5 years so I wouldn't feel like such a rookie. And I have checked that off my to-do list. So I think that one counts. So anyway, I did want to say that all the time I've been here, I've been really proud to be a part of this agency, mainly because I've been able to see what the people of this agency and support with the commissions or with the support of the commission been able to do. I mean, we look over the programs that's happened over, especially during my career. We've gone from restoration now to trying to control and just things that I wouldn't have thought about several years ago, but it's been great. And the commission, the agency, the truly passionate people with the same kind of common goals. And without the license buying public, and the voter registration folks, without their support and without their funding, we wouldn't have been able to do any of this. So a lot of thanks go to them as well. So throughout my career, I've had the opportunity to change positions several times. Every time I did, I was really, really reluctant to do it because I loved what I was doing so much, and I thought, why would I leave this to go do something else? But every time I did, it worked out great. I was glad I got the chance to do something different, and I thought it shouldn't be afraid to take that next step usually. So that's worked out great, and I'm pretty optimistic it'll continue on that way. So I guess I'm here today to formally tell you that I'm applying for the position of former director. So I tried to find a time when I thought it would be the least disruptive to the agency or the commission, and in trying to figure that out, I thought the end of May would be a good time. And the reason I picked that time was because the General Assembly will have adjourned by that point. There's no turnover in the commission this year, and then it'll give whoever the new director is about 9 months to get their feet on the ground before all that starts again. It'll also give the commission 3 months to pick a new director, and then hopefully during that time, I'll have the opportunity to work with whoever that new person is, and for a week or two to see what kind of transition we have and make that go as smoothly as we can. When Director Myers left and I came in to take the director job, we literally met for 4 hours on a Sunday morning, and that was our transition. But if I hadn't worked with him for 32 years before that, it would have been kind of difficult. So anyway, I'll just say all that to say that's what I'm thinking of. And talking to Karen, I was telling her the other night, of course, she knew this. I felt like I needed to tell her. And after her eyes kind of went back down, she kind of said, "Does that mean you'll be home every day?" But anyway, we got to talking. I said, there's just a bunch of things I'd really like to see through. I'd like to see the passage of the Recovering America's Wildlife Act, and we're very close to that. I want to see the completion of Buffalo Ridge. I want to be the first person to shoot on the new range at Lone Oaks, and I could go on the list. There's a lot of things I'd like to see done. I'd like to see people say, "Hey, I can't find any Asian carp," or what was it CWD stood for? I'd like to see all that happen, but I came to realize there's always going to be something else. That's not me. There's always going to be something else I want to see happen, that I want to see through. I know Dave was talked yesterday about the word perpetuity. A lot of times, as much as I'd like to be director in perpetuity, I realize there comes a time when it's time to change over, give the reins to somebody else, and see what happens from there. So that's where I am. So with the consent of the commission, I'd like to work until the end of May, and then on May the 31st, I would offer my time up as retirement at that point.
He's always said we're the boss. I don't know.
I remember when I first got this job, and I shouldn't say this because I shouldn't have said it the first time, but the commission voted twice on that day when I became director. And after the second time, I was starting to get really antsy. And I remember when I got in front of the podium, I said, "So glad to be up here because I think I just wet my pants." Now, I'm about that way again today, but when we get closer to the end of May, if it's all right, I'd like to come back and make some more formal remarks, but I just wanted to lay that out today as a plan that I have and see if it suits you guys okay.
Absolutely, and I feel like everyone on this podium will want to make some formal remarks, and I feel like many folks from the past will too. Boy, it's the quietest I've heard this room since I've been here. I hate to say a lot because I know we got 3 months left, but anyway, you will be around when all that gets done, regardless of what year it is, because your legacy is going to live on for many, 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 many years to come with the difference you've made across this state and nation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're very welcome. But and I know Dave could say the same thing from Canada. His legacy will live up there, just like Gary Myers has as well. But anyway, anybody else got anything to say, or Commissioner Stroud?
I'm sad.
You're sorry you called him an
I don't take that back. But, no, I mean, I'm speaking for, I just, it just hurts. That's the way we feel, because you're so dear. The very first time I spoke to Ed Carter when I got on the, what? I'm going to tell him. The very first time I met, or I talked to him, I called him, and he called back. Anyway, missed phone call. Anyway, when I first heard his voice, and he introduced himself, and we said hello, I said, where are you? I mean, it sounds, your voice sounds so hollow. He was on the throne in the bathroom. And that's how our relationship started. But I'll shut up here real quick. But you know what?
And let me say, there's a moral to that story. Never call a sound engineer when you're on the throne.
Exactly right. I knew immediately that it was a Cohen or whatever they call him. Anyway, yeah, I'll shut up. But I love you, and we love you, and it's just sad and it hurts, and I don't know what else to say, Ed. Yeah, I love you.
I told Karen I feel like I'm running away from home.
Yeah.
And when I graduated from high school, I thought, I'm going to leave my best friends, and that's where I am today.
I've always talked to people about you, and described you as velvet-colored steel, and I think that's a good.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Lots of sad faces, Ed.
Well, it's a weird one for me, too.
Except for Karen. She is grinning like I am going to that cabin for a long period of time.
Thank you again. I appreciate the opportunity y'all have given me. It's been amazing, and over the next 3 months, I know we'll still work together a lot, and I look forward to that as well. So thank you all.
All right. Thank you, Director Carter. All right, at this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to our chairman of the nominating committee, Commissioner Tony Sanders, who will conduct this part of the meeting.
I've got to follow that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, when you first asked me to head the nominating committee, I said, oh, that'll be pretty easy. Sure, I'll do it. I kind of wished I was in India now. It turned out to be a little more difficult than I envisioned, but I do thank you for the confidence you put into me and in the committee. First, I want to thank Jimmy Granberry and Tommy Woods. While I've gotten to know them over the past year, I really appreciate the way that they worked on this committee and the guidance these two gentlemen showed as we went through the process. As we started the process, there were a few things that developed, and I feel like I'm taking a little bit longer than I need to, but I need to kind of explain where we're at. As we worked through these, the path that I will lay out at the end became a little more clear. First, I spoke with Commissioner McLaren. Brian has 3 wonderful kids that are going in many different directions. Ella is quickly heading to an Olympic-level shooter, and she's shooting all over the country. Bree is also an outstanding shot herself, and his youngest Cord, to quote my dad, is a preteen who is also a great shot and has a lot of things going on, including learning to be a farmer. And when I talked to Brian, he says, I need to kind of cut back. I got a lot of things going in a lot of different directions, and I want to spend time with my family and step out of leadership. And Brian, I commend you for putting your family first. I then talked to Angie, who tells me that when she's slotted to be chair, it's her daughter's senior year in high school. And I won't tell you what you said about your daughter, but you asked if you could be secretary one more time. So now we're faced with a lot of different things. And then finally the news that we just heard, knew was coming, didn't know exactly when, but that was in the back of our minds as well. So we sat down, we had a lot of discussions, talked to a lot of people, and the route that the committee is bringing to the commission for the upcoming year is this. Kurt Holbert to remain as the chair. Vice chair will be Jim Ripley, and secretary will be Angie Box. So that is coming to the commission as a motion. I'll take a second. We have a second. Any discussions? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Chairman, I give it back to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sanders. And I know you guys had a lot of work to do in a short amount of time, and it turned into more than what you expected it to be. You and Tommy and Jimmy all. I myself want to thank you for the confidence, or the vote of confidence. It's going to be a big year, obviously. We're going to have to hire a director, which is something this agency hadn't done many times. How long has it been, Director Carter? I know how long you, but how long was Director Myers here? 32 years. And so in 44 years, there's only been 2 directors, is that right? So it's not something that happens often, which is odd compared to other states. And I think that's a testament to who we've had as the director. There hasn't been a need for change. He feeds us well. It's all the things he's supposed to do. So, but anyway, Commissioner Ripley or Box, you guys got anything to say?
I just want to thank you for your confidence in me and your friendship and all the votes from the other commissioners. I had no expectation that this would happen, but I understand Brian's situation, and I respect him tremendously for putting his family first, because after all, that's as important as anything could ever be. And but again, thank you, and I hope I can earn your confidence going forward, and I'll try to keep our commissioner in line as we work through the next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Granberry?
Yeah, I just think it should be noted, Tony, you were a wonderful chairman of this, and you took your time and energy, and I just want to, on behalf of me and I'm sure Tommy, thank you for your leadership.
Tony, thank you for everything you've done, put into this, and Granberry, and appreciate y'all on the nominating committee working with everybody. And usually I got to do things twice to get it right, so I figured being secretary again would be good. So thank y'all for having me.
Okay. I do have a couple of announcements about meeting dates, if you guys want to jot it down. March, we're going to change it to a one-day meeting. It'll be on March the 27th. It was slated for a 2-day meeting. But it'll be the 27th at Buffalo Ridge, still the same location. April meeting will be April the 23rd and 24th. and it'll be in Clarksville. Connie's birthday party. We wanted to honor her. So, Dirt will be there. So, anyway, that'll get you guys, and we'll get the rest of the dates out. And May will be, I already know May too, will be the 14th and 15th. That'll be in Nashville. So that'll let you guys do some planning. Okay. After the meeting, if we could get the commission to stay in here for, is there room for us in the conference room? Is there enough room? That way everybody wouldn't have to leave. Or would it be easier staying here, Ed?
I'm not sure you can fit it.
Okay.
There's Stacy. Will they fit?
You can get about 14.
Okay, we'll just go in that conference room and just have an executive session for a minute to talk about the next steps as far as the director. Anybody got any words? Karen, you got any departing words? No. I think we all think you've got a heck of a husband. And I'm sure he's really nice and sweet and treats you just like he treats us. Does everything for us, and I mean, just I'm sure he does that at home too. So, all right, thank you guys. Dave, thanks again for making the trip from Canada. Look forward to getting up there again soon. So, we're adjourned. Yes, straight there.